We're Team Polyzero, and over the past couple of weeks, we've developed an app to try and help people reduce their plastic usage. So I'll introduce the members of the teams. Kim as a designer and full-stack engineer, me as a full-stack engineer, Daiki as full-stack engineer, and Felipe as tech lead and full-stack engineer, and Zach as a product owner and front-end engineer.
We use a lot of disposable plastic. For instance, if you go into a grocery store in Tokyo, it's quite difficult to find fruit that's not packaged in plastic. In fact, it's commonly 2 or 3 layers deep. And if you add to that the plastic food containers and utensils that we get from delivery and takeout, the bubble wrap and polystyrene from your Amazon packages, then it's easy to imagine that over the course of a year, we managed to amass a small mountain of plastic waste. Here in Japan, that mountain weighs around 37 kilograms per person per year. And in other developed countries like Singapore and the US, it's even bigger. The problem with this is that disposable plastics typically have a useful life of only 12 to 15 minutes. How long do you use that spork right there while you're eating your bento? But they can persist in the biosphere for 500 years or more. And beyond the plastic pollution crisis that's overwhelming our oceans and making its way into the food that we eat, plastics are also a significant threat to the Earth's climate. Nearly every piece of plastic begins life as a fossil fuel, and greenhouse gases are emitted at each stage of the plastic life cycle, from extraction to refinement to manufacturing, all the way through recycling or incineration. In fact, just 5 plastic bags can have a CO2 footprint of 1 kilogram. So that brings us to the problem that we sought to solve as a team. How might we educate or help consumers learn more about the problems of single-use plastics? Reduce. How might we provide the ability to estimate our plastic footprint and associated CO2 emissions, and then provide advice for reducing both? And lastly, how might we provide a simple mechanism to offset the CO2 that comes from the plastics in our daily life? Educate, reduce, and offset. Those are our goals for this product.
All right. Once you enter our app, you'll find our homepage for our application. First, I'll go ahead and click the About link. Here you can read about why we chose to build this particular project. The goal was to increase awareness about the problem of disposable plastics. Then, if you click on further reading, here you'll find excerpts and links for online articles and research where you can learn more about the issue. Then, if you click on Reduce Plastic, you can find tips for how to live a more sustainable lifestyle. And you can also find a list of sustainable brands and products that our project contributors like. The other way the app brings attention to the plastic that we consume is by allowing users to estimate their annual plastic consumption. So the algorithm works by taking the average plastic consumption in your country of residence, adjusting it based on assumptions about your lifestyle. For me, it looks like my annual plastic consumption is around 46 kilograms per year, which is above the per capita average in Japan of 37 kilograms per year. But here's the interesting part. About 46 kilograms of plastic will create over a quarter ton of greenhouse gases. All right, and some other actions that you can take from this screen are to review tips on how to reduce your plastic footprint or to offset your CO2 emission. So the idea with a CO2 offset is that given you emit 259 kilograms of CO2 per year from disposable plastics, you could give some money to support someone who, for example, has planted a forest to remove the same amount of CO2 from the atmosphere. Now, as we built this app, we realized that the CO2 from the plastics we use is a fairly small fraction from the plastics we use of our total annual CO2 footprint. So we added different support tiers to allow you to offset for example, 1, 5, 10, or 15 or more years.
So this is a tech stack in our application. For front-end side, we use React.js and Tailwind CSS. On to backend side, we made full use of Firebase.
And this concludes our demonstration. Thank you for watching.